podcast. This is episode 33, and we appreciate each and every one of you who have stuck around to this point. And starting off with some sad news, we took a couple weeks off, but it's still sad that we have to report news like this. Seems like so frequently, but NFL quarterback Dwayne Haskins, who just re-signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers, passed away. I don't even have the date written down. It was a couple days ago. He was down in Boca Raton, Florida, with, I believe, Mitchell Trubisky, the other quarterback for the Steelers, Najee Harris, no, is it Najee Harris?
Yeah, that's the running back.
Okay, because I think of Najee Harris, I think of the skateboarder. We're sure it's Najee Harris?
Yeah.
Okay, Najee Harris, who's the running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and a few other players, I believe. They were down there working on strength and conditioning and what is it? Camaraderie, basically team bonding. And I guess they were down there for a few days or a week. Their stuff was done, and from what the reports have said so far, it was like 6:30 in the morning, and Dwayne Haskins was driving a rental car back to the airport, and I believe it was relatively close to the airport. Supposedly, from what I had heard, he ran out of gas, which is kind of weird to me. Ran out of gas, and the other weird part is he got out of the vehicle. And mind you, sunrise wasn't until like 7:12 or 7:15 a.m., and this is 6:30 a.m. Started to cross, I believe it's I-95. I might be mistaken. Started to cross the freeway, and ended up getting hit by a dump truck and being killed on impact. I'm guessing they said at the scene, but hopefully on impact, so he didn't have to feel the pain, I guess. But R.I.P. to Dwayne Haskins, and thoughts and prayers to his family, his new wife. He would have been turned 25 next month. It's just a sad situation that we have to report on these deaths of athletes or just people in general so often anymore. But what do you think, Big? What's your opinion on everything?
So it happened on 9th. That's the date that happened.
The 9th, and we're recording on the 14th tonight. Yeah. It's the 14th tonight, so yeah. of April.
And so his wife released a statement thanking everybody for all the
I've seen
support. That. And she's met with the team, and they're going through that. It's just sad.
Only a month away from his 25th birthday. So much life to live. He had a promising career. We know he had his ups and downs with Washington, with the football team or Commanders or Redskins, whatever you want to call them. But I mean, that has no effect on him as a person. And he went to Pittsburgh and started making a splash with that team. And I seen things from his coaches at every level that said that he was one of the hardest working, most bubbly, friendly people that they've ever coached and everything. And he was just recently married within the last year, I believe. I mean, no kids, thankfully, in the sense that they don't have to grow up without a dad. There's no kids. But still, when somebody makes it to this level, they're not only supporting themselves, their wife, their family, but they're supporting their extended family. They, even if they're not just giving handouts, they're giving jobs. And when a person at this caliber passes, it's sad all the way around, but now people have lost jobs and lost their way, So
yeah, it's just tough all around.
Absolutely. We've dealt with
even for the dump truck driver.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw an article where there was an eyewitness who saw
him, and
there was big rigs veering around him even before the accident.
And that's my thing. I just don't understand. But I mean, not that I should or I'm going to understand, but I guess in my simple mind, I can't wrap my head around playing Frogger essentially on a busy freeway, pitch black. I just don't get it. There's other things why, if the story about him running out of gas is true, why didn't he have? I know gas prices are outrageous right now, but still, he could afford gas. Was it, hey, well, I have enough? He thought he had enough to get him to the airport.
Yeah, and just leave the rental
and
company
pay the little fee because he's got the money to do it. But either way, if he did run out of gas, why not sit in your car and use your phone and use the the car rental from the airport? They'll come pick you up. They'll take care of it, especially when you have that kind of money. You're that big name. Or why not just call AAA and why play? I just don't understand I just don't get it. But again, excuse me, am I supposed to get it? No. Like, there's so many questions that only he knows, and now nobody will know because unfortunately it passed with him.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where like it leaves more questions than it does answers, and you just kind of.
This shit seems, from what we've seen or heard or read, seems super avoidable. So it's not like this. I don't believe this man tried playing frog or take his own life. Like it's crazy. But either way, R.I.P. To Dwayne Haskins, the Haskins family, his wife, his mother, his father, his brother, whoever he had in his corner and his family. Thoughts and prayers and all that stuff that goes along with it. I know it's repetitive, and Big Mike and myself have lost a lot of friends and family lately, to be honest, and it's just a shitty situation. But I'm not trying to make his death little, but moving on to the next story. Big Mike had talked about this in previous episodes, but the Tom Brady football, his quote unquote very last touchdown pass football. You want to take it from there?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the buyer caught a break where
recap for the people that weren't with us in that episode though. What he on auction
so he bought
$518,000
he spent on what was supposed to be Tom Brady's last touchdown because Tom Brady had retired.
Playoff football too,
and it was a playoff touchdown. But 2 days later, or the day after, Tom Brady decided to come out of retirement, and so this guy was stuck with a ball that went from being worth $500,000 to being worth about $30,000 because it was a playoff touchdown from Tom Brady. Now they're saying that the buyer is giving the ball back to the seller. And the purchase is going to be voided, essentially.
But my thing is, I wonder if he actually received the football, or if it was still in limbo,
It might, because with things like that...
It's a big number.
They have to do, like, escrow stuff.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people think escrow is only for houses.
No, it's for anything that's over a certain amount, right?
You could do it for anything, like, if you don't trust... Like, say you owed $3,000 left on your truck.
Gotcha.
Like you owed the bank that much money, and I wanted to pay off your loan and buy the truck from you for $4,000.
Yeah, so
I'd give you $1,000, and then me, like if we didn't know each other, I wouldn't trust you to pay the other $3,000 to the bank.
Gotcha.
So I'd put it into an escrow account so that it would go to the bank.
Okay.
And then I could get the title from you.
Gotcha.
Or I wouldn't get it from you because you don't have the title. I'd get it from the bank.
Okay,
so that escrow account, they can be used for a lot of things. I've seen when supposedly if a landlord's not fixing something, you can withhold rent.
You have to have it in a separate account.
And so a lot of people who've done it say that you need to put it into an escrow account because then it can't just be taken in and out without a bunch of paperwork.
Yeah. So that's the wife worked at a bank, and that whole thing, she even tells people that are going through that similar situation is, yes, you can withhold rent until things are, done, but you have to have a separate account for that. And yes, the escrow account makes sense. So either way, do cut a break. But like we were talking about earlier, if you pay $518,000 in auction for a fucking football, it means you're probably well off. It's not
you're not missing $500,000.
Yeah, it's not like you're like, oh damn, I have $520,000 in the bank account. Oh fuck, well I'm paying $518,000. It's not like you're missing a meal because of it. So either way, like it would have been, I don't know, if you would have got that ball and it would have went down, like it is what it is. It sucks, but it's not.
Even Tom Brady was trying to make it better. He said
a little bit, yeah.
Supposedly he was going to give him a couple Bitcoin or something.
Which Bitcoin's lower than what it was when he gave away for the ball to the fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was going to give a couple Bitcoin to the guy and then donate a couple Bitcoin to whatever charity the guy wanted him to donate it to.
Which I said earlier when you told me that. I was like, why the fuck? I wouldn't want fucking Bitcoin going to a charity. I'd want money because I just lost out. But when you have that much money, then charity is the next thing. Whatever.
Well, I mean, if he made, and that's the nice thing, when you make that kind of money, you always look for tax breaks.
Yeah.
If Tom Brady donated 2 Bitcoin,
yeah,
that's $60,000 in tax write-off.
And then to the charity, that's even more.
That's what I'm saying. The tax, when he donated to the charity in your name,
gotcha.
You can write it off, because even though he did it, it was in your name, so you can write off $60,000 right there.
I didn't think about that. That's true.
So, I mean, from a business standpoint, he still would have benefited from the donation.
But you know what's fucked up? Like I was saying earlier, say, so this ball transaction, this playoff ball, is reversed, right? So the buyer gets his money back, the seller gets the ball. But like we were talking about earlier, there's probably going to be a fee that the buyer has to pay the seller. It's not going to be at $518,000, but there's going to be some kind of fee.
Yeah, usually, like, say you go to an auction and you bid on something and you can't buy it. Usually there's like a penalty fee or something. But it's usually, like, for that ball, it'll probably be
a fraction of the price.
It'll be like probably like $10,000-$20,000 maybe.
My thing is, what happens is buyer gets his money back, pays his penalty fee, and he's like, oh, fuck, I dodged a bullet. And then Tom Brady comes out first game, gets blown the fuck up, and can't play anymore. Like, he's just like, I'm done. Yeah. Retires without throwing another touchdown, and God forbid that happens, because, I mean, Tom Brady is the GOAT, and I want to see what he can do. But imagine that happens, and then this buyer goes, you got any more of that ball left?
Right.
He's like, that's like $750 now. Like,
oh, exactly.
That'd be fucking some karma shit, huh?
It was funny. I saw this meme. It was like the reason why Tom Brady came back, and it was Tom Brady.
That's what I just sent to you.
Did you that sent it to me when he was like, "Fuck them kids"?
Yeah, earlier.
It was you.
Yeah, it said Tom Brady retired for 2 days. Picture Tom Brady. It says, "Fuck them kids," and he came back.
Yeah,
that shit's hella funny. I was gonna bring that shit up actually. That's hella funny.
But yeah, no. So
with NFL news.
Well, with the Tom Brady, I'll bring this up just because we're talking about Tom Brady.
Yep.
So
as we always do.
Sean Payton.
Oh yes.
Was the Giants' offensive coordinator in 2000 when Tom Brady was drafted. He fought the organization to draft Tom Brady anywhere. He didn't want him to take in first round, whatever. Just draft him somewhere.
Yeah, because Tom Brady was what, 5th round?
6th round, I think.
Oh, 6th round.
Something like that. And so the team decided no, because they didn't want to draft him. They went and drafted a few other people.
Well, they could because of who they had at quarterback too.
Yeah, I mean they had Kerry Collins, and their backup was Jason Garrett.
Yeah.
But Jason Garrett was 34, and he even retired at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. So it was like, so it's just wild how Sean Payton fought for Tom Brady to be a Giant, and how we were talking how like that could have just changed.
The trajectory.
It could have changed Tom Brady's career, where he went from being
the GOAT
to a nobody.
Yeah, no, he could have been a bust.
He could have, or he could have been himself.
He could have been better, where he never lost Super Bowl. You know, that's a big market. New York's a huge market too,
especially back then. Like now, a lot of people will tell you, big market, small market, it's not really that big of a deal anymore.
It just depends on how good you can play.
Because of Twitter and our cell phones and like that.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, big market, small market really did mean something because media didn't travel the globe like it does.
Yeah.
But now,
sorry, go ahead.
And it's crazy to think, like I'm saying, back in the day, when really like 2000 feels like it was.
Feels like it, but that's 22 years ago. That's crazy. It makes me feel, it really dates me. But back then, big market means Tom Brady goes there, and there's going to be superstars that want to be there too because of the big market.
Oh, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
His teams could have been super stacked. Because, mind you, like, he won Super Bowls with New England, so many of them where he didn't have a stacked team, quote unquote. Excuse me. There was players that became known from being on the team, but there wasn't players that were known, until they made themselves. But there would have been players.
Especially receivers. People used to joke all the time that Tom Brady could turn anybody into a decent receiver.
Absolutely. Wes Welker, who's the other? Julian Edelman, and I mean, then you had like Randy Moss that came at the end of his career. You had Ocho Cinco that came at the end of his career. You know,
Randy Moss did some. I think that was the year that that team broke the record for most touchdown passes.
probably
Most touchdowns scored in a year or something like that.
and
The offense was.
well,
That was the one year that Randy Moss was still taking the tops off of
Yeah.
defenses. Like, it was weird.
in that he didn't win a Super Bowl with them either though. Did
No.
they? No. Or did they go and lost to the Giants that year?
I think that was.
And that's another thing. The irony is that Sean Payton wanted it when he was with the Giants, wanted him so bad, and the Giants were the one that were like the Patriots' kryptonite. They went 16-0 through the regular season. They obviously went out through the playoffs, and they would have been the first team since the Dolphins to go completely undefeated, and the Giants, who were well underdogs, beat them.
I think they were a wild card team. I think it was like the first wild card team to win a Super Bowl.
I believe so. But that's the irony. He should have been a Giant, quote unquote, and then the Giants were his kryptonite, you know?
Oh, yeah.
With the guy that they got instead of him.
Essentially, yeah.
So, it's crazy. But with that, do you want to discuss the overtime rule, the new overtime rules in the NFL?
Yeah, so I mean, really the only difference now is it's not obviously what the fans want, but
It's getting closer though.
At least now, no matter what, well, I shouldn't say no matter what. Offensively, if one team scores field goal or touchdown, the other team gets the opportunity to have the ball.
To match or beat.
If the defense scores, though, it's sudden death, no matter what. Safety return for a safety, game over. Fumble return, game over. Punt return, game over.
Yeah, kick return, all that.
Any of that stuff. Well, the question is, say Broncos kick off the Cowboys in the first play of overtime.
We house it.
You house it.
Yeah, then you guys would get another shot.
Is game over, or
I believe that you guys would, because it's you guys would get another shot.
Yeah, I think that's how I interpret it. But I'm just saying.
That's a good one. That's a good question because it didn't specify that. Because is a kickoff return special teams? Because like a punt return, special teams. Yeah. But then again, like
I think with the punt return is considered the second touch though.
Yeah.
Because like the one team's already had the ball, and then that's the second touch.
So yeah, kickoff. If the Cowboys
touch.
housed it, you guys would get probably an opportunity. But it's not so. But still, like say the Cowboys kick off to the Broncos, and the Broncos throw a pick six to us, that it's game over.
Yeah, because
or if we tackle your quarterback in the end zone, the safety, game over, or fumble recover, anything. Yeah. So the only thing would be. Is if you guys drove down, the only thing that's different is because if the Broncos drove down and got a field goal, the Cowboys get an opportunity to match or
that was always the case with the Olds.
And it still is now.
Yeah.
The only difference is if the first team to get the ball scores a touchdown, the second team gets a chance.
Yeah.
So that's the only difference.
But
but that's a big difference. That's a big deal.
It is a huge difference because it like that decided. Like one or two playoff games this year.
In the last couple of years too, the
just
Chiefs
this
game,
season the
two of the biggest shootouts.
The Bills
and Chiefs this year, and the Chiefs and Patriots the year before, or Chiefs and Buccaneers the year before, I believe, or so I don't either way.
Yeah, no, it was, But after that, say both teams score a touchdown, it's next one to score any points.
It's sudden death then, like the original overtime.
Like even not the ones we have now, but like before we have now. Because it used to be years ago, it used to be field goal wins it.
Yeah.
I just get field goal range, center it up, and let the kicker kick it.
And done. Yeah, that's crazy. I still think that you're right. We need to go back to we need to adopt the college rules.
Yeah.
Or see where this XFL, because did we discuss their overtime rules? Because I think we had it all looked at for the previous episode.
No, I know that the USFL is doing. They have 1, 2, and 3-point conversions for.
That's not what we were talking about. I think we talked about the XFL because the XFL is essentially going to be the feeder league, like a AAA league almost for the NFL.
It's going to be their tester league where they can test different.
It's going to be their Frankenstein League.
I mean, the USFL is the last time it was ran by Donald Trump and who else ran it the first time? It was Donald Trump, and there was one other huge name.
I don't remember, dude. I know Vince McMahon, it was XFL last time. Now it's going to be Dwayne Johnson, Dwayne the Cock Johnson, and his investors, excuse me. He's looking it up.
It was David Dixon.
See, I would have never known that name.
I'm trying to figure it out. I know Donald Trump was one of the big ones for the original.
He was because
USFL.
he got snubbed from buying an NFL team.
And the NFL ended up suing the USFL and then stole a bunch of their ideas.
Yep. That's what, back in the early 2000s? Was that back when T.O. was still playing?
No, it's like 80s.
Oh, shit.
It was the 80s.
That's crazy. I was going to say, because T.O. said he's coming out of retirement to the fan-only league, though.
Yeah, the fan-controlled league?
Yeah. I said fans-only fans, whatever. But the fan-controlled league. The 7-on-7 football, Johnny Manziel played there. Fucking... Isn't Baker... No, Baker Mayfield's still trying to find... We still signed to the Browns, but...
Yeah, so Trump... This is what it says. Trump helped kill the first version of the USFL.
That's right. I watched a whole docuseries on this a long time, or documentary.
What essentially happened for the short version of it, the first version was in the 1980s. It was a spring schedule like the USFL is now. It actually had future NFL stars Steve Young, Jim Kelly, Reggie White, Herschel Walker play in it. That's who I saw when I was looking at some of the Herschel Walker. Yeah. So Herschel Walker wasn't like financially. Yeah. He was a player. Yeah. Trump became the name most synonymous with the USFL because what happened is his brain was, because like you said, he didn't get an NFL team. He was like,
he felt jaded.
He's like, I'm going to take the USFL and move it to the fall and compete with the NFL.
Which was dumb.
And then sued the NFL for antitrust laws because the NFL monopolized football. And he won. And then the USFL didn't do well during the fall, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. And then Herschel Walker came.
All those guys came over from... Yeah. And so I honestly think that competition breeds innovation.
Absolutely.
And that's why the NFL steals these things. Like the first rendition of the XFL, the NFL stole the cameras on the wire.
Yeah, the wire cam and shit.
And so I think the competition, and that's what we see a lot, even like EA Sports, I say it all the time, Madden has no innovation because they have no competition. And even MLB The Show, I used to rave about how they did it right because there's no competition, but they always did something new. Yeah, I played the new one, and it literally feels like a copy and paste of last year.
Just new roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like Madden.
Like last year you were kind of forced to be a two-way player like Shohei. Yeah. This year you get the decision. Really? That's really the difference.
That's different.
You can either, like last year it was like the coach came to you and said, hey, we want you to try to be a two-way player. And then you could say no, but it's one of those things where they're like, well, why don't you just give it a try? This year it's like, do you want to be a pitcher? Or two-way player? Or just a fielder? And you make that decision. So that's literally the only thing they've changed. There used to be like
what if you just want to be better and that's it?
You well,
I know. I'm sorry.
I mean, you could try to be David Ortiz and DH your whole life.
Big Poppy.
But it's so once you lose, and 2K is the same thing. Yeah. That's why like this year I was super stoked because of the huge like RPG.
For the fifth gen is the best 2K I've ever played in my life. Ever.
Career mode wise,
yes.
It is
leaps and bounds.
Yeah, and So that's nice to see, but that's what we're seeing. Like I feel like we're seeing that with the NFL and the
evolution kind of thing.
Is we're not getting innovation. It's just the same.
Absolutely.
And it's getting more watered down because of the Goodell's rules and.
Yeah, dude. Fuck, that shit kills me, man.
But continuing with NFL news, the NFL teams have now been mandated.
Yeah. That
each team has to hire either a female or a member of ethnic or racial minority onto their coaching staff. So
they're being forced to, which
it's not a mandate.
It's not a bad thing in a sense, but it could be if you're playing both sides. If you're looking at both sides, I think that it should be more integrated like that, to where it should just be a natural thing for these teams to hire who the best is, and whether that's black, white.
Well, see, if you think about it,
female.
So if you look into this, they don't have to hire a female. It's
no.
Or.
That's what I'm saying, but it's sad that there has to be a mandate enforced.
Well, my thing is, it says ethnic. So ethnic is like...
Could be religious. Could be Jewish.
Ethnic could be
Muslim.
Jewish, those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm being the...
devil's advocate.
The NFL teams are going to find loopholes to this.
Oh, yeah. Say your religion's different.
Like, they're just going to be like, oh, your family's from Jerusalem? Oh, you're Jewish? That checks that box type of thing.
Right. No, I'm not Jewish. You're Jewish? No, I'm not Jewish. You're Jewish.
Yeah.
I'm Jewish.
You go to, like, my mom used to do that shit, like, hometown buffet type shit, where like 12, if you're 12, you eat for free type shit.
I'm 13. Bow! I'm 12.
Exactly.
Holding your eye. I'm 12.
And my thing is, I have always been I don't care who the fuck you are.
Right? Just as long as you're the best for the job.
If I feel like you're the best person for the job, I don't care who the fuck you are.
But the thing is, it's sad because some teams, I don't know which ones, but obviously there's been enough
Commanders.
Of them. Shit. There's been enough of them where they've gone against hiring people of color or people of ethnicities or
females
or females. They've been against it. Oh, your resume is fucking longer than whatever. Like, oh, you're perfect. No, you're overqualified. Or because you're a female, because you're this race or this religion.
I think I saw something the other day and we talked about it. I think there was this female who said it the best because she wanted to become a scout.
Females are always... No, I'm kidding.
That was her thing. She wanted to become an NFL scout. And she said, nobody's born knowing how to scout NFL talent.
Absolutely.
It's a learned thing.
Yep.
She's like, so why can't I learn it? And that's my thing, is if you, like, to be a head coach, there's two types of head coaches. There's a ex-player head coach who gets a different kind of respect than a non-ex-player head coach. I couldn't, if a female did the time, because head coaches don't just go from off the street, never being a coach, to a head coach.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these guys spend years as a positional coach.
Sometimes 20 years.
And then they spend time as an assistant coordinator. Yep. And then they might move to coordinator, and they might move to this and that.
And some of them are interim head coach when a Gruden gets fired or a Jason Garrett gets fired. They're like, oh shit, I don't know what to do with my hands. And they just are thrown in the mix.
Yeah. And so my thing is, and I said this pre-podcast, I feel like the easiest way would be for a female to go, or anybody that doesn't really know, is to go the Pat Riley approach, where you literally start as like a film room intern where you're running and getting coffee and putting reels on the...
Well, he started as a player.
Well, he played in the NBA.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, when he went to the Heat, he started as like a film room intern or something.
Well, if this new winning season, the Lakers show, if it's not dramatized to that effect, he started off ex-player and then started announcing. I wonder how true that is, though, because everything is dramatized for the show.
Yeah, no.
But I wonder if he actually did
start... Well, what I'm saying is, if I went right now and tried to get hired by the Broncos,
Eric Spoelstra, whatever.
That's what I meant. I said Pat Riley for some reason, but I meant Eric Spoelstra.
Okay, gotcha.
Where he started as a film room intern and then worked his way through
every fucking step. He didn't. When you're taller, you walk up and you take 2 steps at once.
Yeah, I don't know why I said Pat Riley. Eric Spoelstra.
He hit every single fucking step.
And see, so to me, like, especially not so much the racial and ethnicity.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's going to be the best way for a
learn
lot of these females to get to where they want to be.
Not saying that should be the way.
No.
But that's
it worked for Eric Spoelstra.
Playing devil's advocate, how the NFL or NBA sees things as a whole.
Yeah, because like if my daughter said, "Hey, I want to be an NFL head coach," I'm like, "All right, cool. Yeah, you could do that."
But you have to work at it.
But it's gonna be a grind. Like Eric Spoelstra, the day he came on to be a film intern, who the fuck knew this man was gonna grind to be president of basketball operations for that same exact team?
And head coach that coached LeBron and
he's
Dwayne
won
Wade,
a title.
He's won a couple of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
With Shaq and Wade and with LeBron and Wade and my thing is, applying for that film room assistant or whatever intern, who did he have to beat out too? He still had competition at that level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he beat them out and then climbed up the corporate ladder,
and
literally.
So, like, to me, and I've said this, there's things, like, I can't go, like, I could go get a degree in film.
Yeah.
And learn how to do that and go, oh yeah, I want to work on your film team or your social media team and get in with an NFL team. Mm-hmm. Or whatever. Or I could go learn how to become a personal trainer or a physical therapist or something and get on the team and grind it that way. And I feel like, but I can't just walk in and be like, hey, I want to be a wide receiver coach.
Right.
Because I don't know.
Because you didn't play wide receiver.
And so
ever.
I feel like if people that, not just females, but people that don't know football, or just not know football, but haven't played positions at a high level, the best way for them to get into it is
work your way up the ladder.
Work your way up, and it's a grind.
Yeah.
But like, there's this guy on TikTok who he's an announcer, and his whole claim to fame is he's been a minor league announcer for like 10 years. Now on TikTok, he just walks you through what he does daily, how he does things, and like in the booth, he's like, people will be like, "What happens if you have to cough or something?" He's like, "Well, we got a button that literally says cough on it, so you press it." And as long as you're holding that button, you're muted.
That's dope.
I mean, I could like,
I
have that feature too.
It
just doesn't say cough. It just has a little mute button. Or I have a bleep button too, where I can bleep out.
Yeah, but thinking about us is we talk so much back and forth that muting it would be awkward silence.
And the thing is, when you do it for a cough, like his cough, it's like just real fast type of thing.
Yeah.
It took him 10 years, and he finally just got offered an MLB job with the Padres, I think, or something.
Yeah, good for him.
But I'm like, that's 10 years of grinding.
Yeah.
In the minors, which for anybody that works in the minors, whether it's announcers or players or coaches, it's a grind.
Yeah.
Like, they don't fly everywhere.
Buses.
Like,
shit food.
Yeah, it's
pays cheap.
And so, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just for people that are like didn't play at a high level, I think it's a grind anyway. And my thing is, whoever's resume speaks the best. I don't care. Like, like honestly, just do blind interviews at this point.
Right.
Like, if you're really that worried that there's gonna be bias,
black out the names on the resume and just read.
You just get the resume,
but black the names out.
Yeah.
So they can't see if it sounds African American or Latino or female or male.
I feel like that's like, because if you think about it, that's the only way you're going to get 100% unbiased.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the only way. I'm not saying that that's how the world should be, because of like, if I ran a company and a female walked in and a male walked in, and the female, honestly, even if her resume was a little less good and her interview was better, I'm hiring her.
You know, look at how she reacts. Like
whoever gives me the best, like whoever gives me the best chance from a sporting standpoint, gives you the best chance to win a championship,
Yep.
that's who I'm paying money.
Some Moneyball shit.
Exactly.
Like the movie Moneyball about the Oakland Athletics. Great movie.
So I understand why they do it. I just think I don't think we should be at this point, like especially in 2022 where
Well, it goes back to the Reggie Jackson shit. Or not Reggie Jackson, the 42. MLB. 75th anniversary. Who was that? I'm having a fucking blank with his name.
Jackie Robinson?
Jackie Robinson.
I was like
you just read a story about it earlier where they're talking about the MLB hasn't really moved forward in 75 years.
Yeah, it says it's not moving forward as much as the MLB would want us to believe it's moved forward.
Yeah, it's still, it's I don't know. Then we talked about it earlier because we've been to games. I've been to Giants games. You've been to Giants games. No, I've only been to Giants games when it comes to MLB. And they're talking about even the fan base. You don't really have a big African American fan base when you go to games, and I can attest to that. That when I've gone to Giants games, it's been probably 75% what looks white. You know what I'm saying? From your first glance, I can't say you're Caucasian, whatever. I can't say okay. There's some mixed people that are part African American, and you can't really first glance you don't see that. But
yeah,
you look across the stands, and I think I just looked it up with my son. What used to be AT&T Park, it's not Oracle Park, where the San Francisco Giants play. I think it holds like 54,900 something people, and when I've gone, and I've been to the Candlestick too before they built the new one, and I didn't see as many African American looking people as I did white. So they're talking about the fan base, but I don't know why that could be. I haven't looked into that. I don't know, but
well, like I said pre-podcast, it could be like if you they say that economically,
sports in general,
the more expensive the sport, the less minority.
That's why they say hockey. You have limited minorities in it. Like as an African American,
like if you look at, you can say the same thing about tennis,
absolutely,
or golf. Things that cost more money, they say.
Or a lot of travel.
Yeah. And they say that is kind of a barrier for a lot of minority families. So, and baseball, like we talked about, baseball's not the most expensive sport.
But
it's not cheap.
It can be with you said, like a good bat, a solid bat.
And that's
could
the
be
thing
upwards
is,
of $400.
If you think about
all the gear, all that shit.
If you think about for your early years, like once you get to high school, you can use the same glove for I've seen some pros who have done YouTube videos where they have the same glove from high school when they're playing in the minors.
Yeah, but that's because baseball is fucking superstitious as fuck.
And if you take care of your glove, it can last. But when you're 9, 10, 11, 12, and your hand's getting bigger and bigger,
you go through them.
You have to go through gloves. You're having bats change from year to year.
Length of material.
The weight that you can use.
Cleats.
And so it's like, and like we talked about, like the easiest one for anybody.
No matter what your economic class.
Well, in my mind, now that I said that, I think there's two. Soccer, I think, is another one that you see even in like really poor third world countries.
Yeah. They're
able to play soccer because you could work soccer drills just like basketball drills solo.
Yeah. You can, all your footwork and shooting and all that.
The only thing, like you said, the only thing you can't do solo is play defense.
Yeah.
And so that's why I feel that we see
less. Like say in the hood, quote unquote the hood, there's a park with a basketball hoop, a school with the basketball hoop, and you can pay even $5 for a rubber basketball. You can go down there by yourself and work on all your handles, your dribbles, your shots. You can spend as many or as least amount of hours as you want working on your craft. But yeah, again, you can't work on defense unless you have another person. But still, that's only 2 people needed. Yeah. When you're playing baseball, you need 9 on each side. I mean, if you're just fucking around, you can have 4 or 5 on each side, or you can have 6 and 1 batting and then switching up, but still, you still need a group of people, and everybody needs a mitt to catch. So it's like it's a lot easier to take 1 ball and 2 people and just
also the
play.
space difference.
Oh yeah, you can
play a half court of basketball like anywhere.
I mean, you could take a crate and cut the bottom out and hang it from a tree, like you've seen a million times in third world countries, or even the more poorer communities in our country.
But like baseball, it takes a lot of room to be able to play.
You can't, unless you're playing stickball in the Bronx and you're still busting windows out. Like you can't do that.
And so, like, I obviously the person that wrote the article, I think
missed the spot.
I think they went too far by saying that the MLB, it's not intentionally.
Well, that we're aware of. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but that we're aware of.
From my perspective,
outsider looking in,
it doesn't look like the MLB is intentionally pushing those kind of people away.
Them. Yeah.
It's one of those things like if you go to a golf course and you look at you go to the Masters because the Masters was just played. Yeah. You look into the fans, what do you see?
Yeah, absolutely. But the crazy thing is, we're talking about how the poor communities, baseball diamonds and the outfield take a lot of space, and it's harder. But then again, you go to other countries like Cuba, Colombia, Brazil, especially these Latin countries, and all of them play baseball. But then I think that's more ingrained into them that that's
that's their culture.
That's their culture. Yeah, exactly.
And I've seen this thing on TikTok.
They're making it work, and they're using gloves that don't even fit them.
And so one of the craziest thing, and it comes from these like Cuban, Latin American countries. One of the batting practice things they do comes with it's almost like a bottle cap.
Oh yeah.
And it's this smaller stick, and they and it's legit like a competition. You have to throw this bottle cap and then try to hit it with this small stick. And it people from America don't really do it because they have all these training aids and stuff like that.
Well, and hand-me-down equipment.
Yeah.
It's like a bottle cap and a broomstick almost.
Yeah. And literally I've seen videos of very competitive
bottle cap baseball.
Yeah, well, there's sometimes in the minors, you'll see 2 guys from Cuba who've played this game their whole life,
warming up with it.
They'll be doing it super competitive with other players that are intrigued on and it's crazy how they can hit this bottle cap with the size of a broomstick.
Yeah, it's fucking wild
on pinpoint accuracy, and I'm like, what? That's why they're good at baseball.
And so you wonder why they can hit a round ball that's way bigger with the baseball bat that's way bigger. It's nuts, but that's the sport. MLB is majority. I don't know if it's 50-50 or what, but it can't be 50-50. But the majority is white and Latino. It's nuts. But either way, I think that MLB is pretty diverse in that sense. But yes, the African American players that play in the MLB are a smaller percentage than the white and Latino players, and I think that's what the article was getting at. But I think they really sold the article the wrong way.
So I looked it up real fast, and honestly, these numbers, if these are true, I'm trying to look because there's very differentiation.
Depends on the article.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go to ESPN.
Yeah, do that
because the other one seemed a little off. That's why it didn't make sense to me. And this was written in 2017. So,
excuse me.
Obviously, the numbers could have changed slightly, but it's saying that almost 32% is Latino.
Okay.
And it's said and 42.5% would be players of color.
Of color. So
that's what it says.
So there's a lot more actual African American people in the MLB than I thought.
So it says in 2017, MLB is reporting its lowest percentage of African American or African Canadian players.
Okay.
Since they started keeping track in 1991, and it was at 7.7%.
Oh, okay, 7.7 of African American. I think you said 42 point
42 was all
the history of the game.
No, all people of color. So
Latino,
Latinos, Asians,
just not white, not white. Yeah. Okay. I was
in
like,
the MLB
wait, what?
In 2017.
I was like, what the fuck?
So
That'd be like the NBA.
So like half the league,
yeah,
is of color, but only 43%. But only 7.7% of that is.
Say that'd be like the NFL then, like or NBA. But no, the NBA would probably be like over 50% of people of color as a sense of black, African American. Yeah. So 7-point-something% is African American, right?
Yeah, as of 2017. That's what
so the other 35% is Asian, Latino, and other, right? And so that means that the other 57% is white.
Yeah, so this one was updated 2020. I just found one for 2020. Gotcha. So it's 57.5
is white. Okay.
31.9 is Hispanic. 7.7 is black. What it says.
Then Asian.
And then 2.9% is Asian or other.
Or other. Pacific Islander, which I don't even know if there is any, but Pacific Islander, whatever. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. So, yeah, well, so I can see what the article is saying about African Americans being limited in the game because after Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, there was a lot more African. It was like white and African American. Now it's white and Latino pretty much. You know.
Well, what I think, and this is my opinion on that, I think what happened is when he broke the color barrier. One, the league was completely different.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the way the game was played was completely different than it is now.
The stadiums, the fields, everything was different.
But it's like you had the MLB they didn't have 30-something teams or whatever.
Mm-hmm. They had the black circuit.
And that's what I'm saying. And then they had the black.
They call it the Negro League.
Yeah.
The Negro League. It's not a bad word to say.
No, I know, but I'm saying so. Yeah, that so. The thing is, when that happened, you had two leagues that weren't huge.
Like the AFL and the NF.
The NFL when they merged.
NFL and AFL merger.
And so when they finally allowed the integration, I feel like it felt like there was so many integrated. But if you think about it, if there would have been, 30 teams in the MLB?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think it would have looked as drastic. Gotcha. I think the numbers would have been
staggered, similar
to what we're seeing now.
Really?
Because if you think about it, how many teams happened when Jackie Robinson came into the MLB? What year was that?
You can't just say that year. You got to give it like a 5-year window though, because that's when it really started integrating more. You know?
No. I wasn't trying to see percentage. I'm trying to see how many teams were in the MLB.
Oh, okay, got you. Okay.
That's what I want to see.
And I'll look at how many teams were in the Negro League.
What was his first year in the MLB? 1947. Yeah, because I think that would make a huge difference. Yeah, see, there was half the teams. There was only 16.
Gotcha.
And so if you think
there was how many?
16.
16, okay.
So it's about half the teams. So if you think about that, and I don't know how many guys they kept on a roster, but if we went with what they're allowed now, they're allowed 26 players in the MLB.
Mm-hmm. There was 8 teams in the Negro League.
So you got to think, so literally integrating half of a league.
One third would have been Negro League. If there were 16 teams.
And 8? That's half.
And then, well, I mean, 1/3 of the league teams would have been Negro League. Because it would have been.
Oh yeah, if you would have added them.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I think now, if you say they had 26 players, that means you're adding 160 guys.
Yeah.
And they didn't bring those teams in. They didn't bring.
No, they just brought the best of.
They brought the best of players. So say they brought 100 players in.
Say they brought 2 from each team. You know.
Yeah, it's only 16 guys.
Yeah, or 100, whatever.
I mean, even if you went big and said they probably obviously they didn't have room to bring in 100 guys.
Yeah.
So more realistic, like you said, 3 or 4 people maybe. So say 20 people.
Yeah.
If you think about that now,
that's only adding 1 team to the whole league.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it was you took, in quote unquote, the top the best
from the Negro
black African American players from the Negro League and just made them their own team, that's only adding 1 team. Because there's 20-something players in each team.
In the MLB, you're only allowed 26 active players.
Gotcha.
You have a 40-man roster, which means you can move guys from
kind of like a practice squad,
minors up and back and forth.
Oh, okay, yeah.
With whatever.
Because the NFL doesn't have minors, but they have a practice squad.
Yeah, and so honestly, I learned a lot of this recently from playing a lot of franchise on MLB.
Hey, but that helps the podcast.
They're only allowed, you're only allowed 26. No, I'm good. 26 active players, and then you have a 40-man roster, which means you can swap guys up and down. Because if they're not on your 40-man roster, you can't bring them up from the minors. They're stuck in the minors until you add them.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I just think that the number size was so small that it looked more drastic back then.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That does. I mean, especially with only 16 teams, makes a lot of sense. But through the expansion, the league kept expanding, but the diversity of the black players did not. And that could be because there wasn't, black players coming up, African American players coming up that, it might have just dwindled down on, in its own.
Honestly, I really think that, at least from an outside perspective, if you're sitting in there as an MLB GM or coach,
you're going to take the best. You're not going to take.
Yeah, I don't think they look at.
No.
And so that was my biggest gripe with it.
Well, there's another thing too. Think about it like this nowadays. So, NFL quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, or not now, but Colin Kaepernick used to be an NFL quarterback. A lot of them were drafted to the MLB and chose to play football or chose to play baseball. So there's
Kyler Murray, I believe, was also drafted to play baseball.
But so there's also the African American players that are multiple sport players throughout their whole life in college, and the MLB always takes first rights. They always jump in hey, we're drafting you,
because their draft
it's different. But a lot of these players are because the guaranteed you can't. I mean, that you're guaranteed, your contracts are fully guaranteed in the MLB, but you're not guaranteed to start in the pros.
Sometimes it takes
years to go from the minors. So a lot of these African American players or players in general go to the NBA or NFL.
Because you see, and that's the thing is
it's faster.
It's for a lot of people. If you grew up poor, making money to support your family
is bigger.
Is way bigger in your brain than grinding out
to make guaranteed money, and that's if you don't get injured and.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of things that you honestly.
So many variables
in the minors. It literally could just be you get stuck on the wrong team and just
don't get an opportunity. You could fart in front of the wrong coach and he doesn't like you because of it, and he never plays you, and you don't get to show your potential. Or the bus you're riding on gets fucking in a wreck and you get injured, so you don't get played. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the minors is just
so many variables. So many.
It's just a long grind.
Yeah.
And people will be like, well, so and so was only there for so long. Yeah, but
so and so was a fucking stud.
That's the thing is guys like Bryce Harper, Steven Strasburg, Mike Trout
never played minors.
They did,
Did they?
Yeah, Strasburg had like 2 starts in the minors, I think. Like
it was batting like an 840.
And the crazy, like Derek Jeter, actually, if you look at his, was probably out of all of the superstars in our heads.
Yeah.
Was probably one of the longest spent times in the minors.
Damn, really?
But it wasn't even that long in Yankee standards, because Yankees they're known for keeping people in the minors, or they used to be, not anymore.
Yeah.
Look at Aaron Judge and those kind of guys. They used to be keeping guys in the minors to develop them a little bit longer than a lot of other teams, but now the MLB is kind of switching to that wow factor where a lot of teams are keeping those stars from staying in the minors because they want the home runs. They want the electricity.
Want to sell tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah. The MLB is slightly declining every year.
Like Kyler Murray wasn't a first overall pick.
A what?
First overall pick like Steven Strasburg.
Yeah, yeah.
He wasn't a generational talent that literally graduated from high school early to go play college baseball at 15 like Bryce Harper.
And he's really not that good in the NFL either.
You know what I mean? Like,
you can say that.
Like Bryce Harper was playing college baseball at like 16 years old.
Yep. In Nevada, right?
Yeah, like this man graduated high school early just so he could go play college baseball because he was just high school baseball was boring to him.
What wasn't he hitting like a 700 or 600?
Oh, his high school stats
like he's batting like a
500 yard or 500 feet bombs on these kids with metal bats and just like
he was hitting like his batting average. I want to say was like a 670.
Oh yeah, it was something crazy. It was over 500 in high school.
Which means that when you hear a batting average for those of you that don't follow baseball, it's out of 10 basically. So every 10 times you get up, if you're batting a 350, it means that out of every 10 bats, you have 3.5 hits. So let's bring it. If you're batting a 400, every 10 at bats, you get 4 hits averaged. So this guy was batting like a 6-something, if I'm not mistaken.
So in Las Vegas high school is where he played.
Yeah.
And then he went to the Community College of Southern Nevada. That's where he went.
I don't know. Why the fuck did you do community college?
Because at 16, I don't know if you can go straight to...
You can't. You can get your diploma with college, yeah.
I don't think you can go play. So in his 115 games as a high school sophomore, which 115 games as a sophomore is a...
Because he left high school as a sophomore, went to community college.
Well, this is his high school sophomore, but this is like his travel ball. This is everything grouped in.
Got you. Like AAU kind of.
He was hitting 626.
Oh my god.
With a 723 on base percentage. That means like walks, that kind of stuff.
So, Vic, explain to the people that don't know what a good average batting
let's put it this way.
is.
Shohei won MVP last year with a 247.
So out of every 10 at bats, he was getting
less than 3 hits.
Damn. But his arm also came into play.
I know, but I'm saying like
what's a good average? A good one that for
the MLB average last year, didn't you just looked at you when we were talking about Clayton Kershaw's thing? Didn't they say the MLB average last year was like 244?
Yeah, I believe 240 the average. Yeah,
so
244. That's the average.
That's what I'm saying. 1/3 of what this kid was hitting in high school, and obviously high school. Metal bats, whatever.
Yeah.
So he was 723 was his on base percentage.
Yeah.
Which means that he took some walks. Because your on base percentage is your batting average.
Getting hit, walked. Everything.
Plus getting on.
It's just how many times you reach first base.
His slugging percentage.
Which is?
Your slugging percentage is. So I think it's weird. So it's based on homers, doubles, triples, singles.
Gotcha.
So if you hit a single, your number will be lower.
Yeah.
If you only hit singles, it'll be lower. But if you only hit home runs, it's going to be like...
sky high. It's going to be like a 9 out of 10.
So his slugging percentage was 1.339. Which he had, like...
That's wild, dude. That's so crazy. And this is Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
And he came up to the big leagues and he's won MVP, hasn't he? A couple times?
I think he has one at least.
Yeah, he's been a monster. He came straight out of, I'd say high school pretty much, and made an impact in Major League Baseball. It's crazy. Like, this kid is just, he's something different, you know?
Yeah, so when you calculate slugging percentage, it's the hits are, they're not, so in batting average, all hits are valued the same.
Got you. Yeah, okay, that's why it would be like 3, 4, 5, whatever, that he was hitting in high school. 6 something.
Yeah, so his batting average is calculated by total number of hits divided by total number of at-bats. But for slugging percentage, singles are worth 1, doubles are worth 2, triples are worth 3, and home runs are worth 4.
And that's divided by how many times they...
How many at-bats, yeah. Anything over...
So you take all the singles, doubles, triples, and home runs, add them together, the 4, 3, 2, and 1, add them together, and then divide it by how many times... Okay, makes sense.
Anything over 900 is considered great.
Okay.
Anything over a 1 is phenomenal.
So 1 would be 1,000 then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was batting a 1,300 slugging
Holy
percentage.
shit.
That was his slugging percentage.
Motherfucker. That was in before the MLB?
That was high school, yeah.
Jesus. So he was probably averaging a home run every game.
Actually, in 115 games, you want to know how many home runs he had in high school, which is crazy?
How many?
14.
That's it?
Yeah, that's what it said.
How many? That's wild. So why was his batting average that high? Or slugging?
Oh, he had almost 30 doubles.
Oh shit.
10 triples.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is yeah, so it says 14 homers.
That's small. He's had more homers in a season in the MLB. That's crazy.
Yeah, and he did hit a home run from his high school into the highway behind his high school. It was like a 500-foot home run.
Which is, with metal bat, but still, that's crazy, bro. That's nuts. What are we saying on this, or moving on?
No, we're good. This is...
Real fast.
Oh, I mean, we touch on the Clayton Kershaw if you want.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So, if you've been paying attention to the baseball world recently, Clayton Kershaw...
Los Angeles Dodgers, pitcher, stud.
Yeah, probably one of
arguably
one of the best lefties the game has ever seen.
Yeah.
If not one of the top 10 pitchers that we've ever seen.
Won Cy Young multiple times.
He's won 3 Cy Youngs, which is the MVP for pitchers. Yeah. He had 8 through 7 innings.
Was like 3-4 days ago.
It was
within this last week.
Yeah, no, it was yesterday actually.
Was it
yesterday's? Yeah, it was yesterday's game.
Okay.
He was through 7 innings, which means he had faced. Well, he had a perfect game through 7, which means he had faced 21 batters. He had 13 strikeouts and 80 pitches.
And 8 outs, whether they were popped out, grounded out.
Yeah, and so his manager, they're not coaches, they're called managers.
He was on course to throw a perfect game.
Which there's only 23
in the history of the MLB.
With 220-something thousand games played.
Yeah, so the MLB has been around for almost 30 years.
Yeah, so Dave Roberts, who's the manager, pulled Kershaw after 7 full perfect innings. And a perfect game, for those people that don't understand, is that no walks, no hits, no errors. Literally nobody has gotten on base any type of way.
Yeah. Strikeouts or pop-outs or ground-outs.
Yeah, and like I said, only 23 of these have happened in 220-something thousand games played.
In fucking 128 years.
And so he got pulled, and
the fans are losing their minds.
We're all, I'm more like a fuck. Like we got. It's one of those things where I want to see.
Could have witnessed history. Yeah, I'm a realist too, though. I'm a why guy. Like, why did they do that?
That was my thing. It's like, why? Like, you could have just left him in there. Like, even if he would have gotten a fucking blasted the next inning and gave up a home run.
Yeah.
Like, pull him then. From the fan standpoint,
his pitch count was low.
It wasn't super high for.
There was no reason to pull him out. Let this man try to make history.
Yeah, let him add to it and
His resume, yeah.
So essentially,
But hey, as a Giants fan, fuck him too. I'm happy to get it, but it is what it is.
But so today, Thursday when we're recording was the Dodgers home opener against Cincinnati, and so they asked Roberts about why he pulled him, and he said, "I can't manage my ball club and my players with my fan cap on."
Yeah.
He said, "There's a cost to everything." And I wasn't, and Clayton wasn't willing to take on the cost. He also said Kershaw kind of initiated the move. I don't know what that means. I don't know. If
Sounds like rape to me.
I don't know if Kershaw said, "Hey, my arm's getting a little," because we do have to understand that with the lockout, spring training, especially for pitchers and catchers, was a lot shorter.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot shorter for everybody.
Yeah.
But for people that don't understand, pitchers and catchers show up to spring training like a month before everybody else. Yeah. And Kershaw has been injured all 3 of the last 3 seasons.
Left arm injury, elbow injury.
Yeah,
and he's left-handed, and back injury.
Yeah, last year he missed like 2 months with some inflammation in his elbow or whatever. But yeah, all 3 of his last 3 seasons he's missed significant time due to injury.
Yep.
And he just signed a 1-year extension for $17 million. So
protecting their asset.
He's protecting the asset. So from a baseball standpoint, and even Kershaw could have said, "Hey, look, we're up 3-0. I'm throwing lights out, but my elbow is Kershaw's first start of the year."
Kershaw's probably like, I'm not worried about the accolades. I'm worried about the win. You know?
Yeah. And so it's probably Kershaw. I don't know if it was his first start, but I'm pretty sure it probably was.
It was a home opener.
No, he wasn't on the home opener because they played the Twins.
Oh, so today was a home opener.
Yeah, and then today was the home opener.
That's crazy because the MLB's been playing for like a week. Today they just had their first. Well,
that's what I'm saying. They probably played their first series or something in the Twins. They probably played 4 games there.
That's weird because usually the series go back and forth though. But whatever. That's the point.
No, in the MLB season, it's like if I'm playing the Twins, it's like 4 days at their stadium.
Oh.
And sometimes these guys aren't home for a month and a half because they're just playing a bunch of road games.
Yeah.
And then so it's probably Kershaw's first start of the year, and to throw 80 pitches and that many strikeouts, he probably was like, "Hey, coach," or Skip. They don't call him coach, Skip or manager. They're like.
You can say manager, but Skip.
He's like, "Hey, whenever you want, pull the plug," type of thing, which I respect. Like if you're going for longevity of your arm, which we all know pitching is not a great position for longevity of arm.
Unless you're Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, God, man, if
that's a different breed.
If that article's true, if because it's like the whole Wilt Chamberlain thing.
Yeah.
People don't believe Wilt scored. There's the whole camp of people that don't believe he scored 100 points.
It wasn't recorded?
No, somehow there's no footage of it. But there's that picture that we've all infamously seen with the 100 points just written on a random white piece of paper. And so there's a whole camp of people that don't believe he scored 100 points.
I never really put thought into it. I just figured.
But to me, it's like everybody's like, "How?" with the way people, and I'm like, because it's like in the league now, there's no way he scores 100 points.
No fucking way.
I'm not even if you go back 20 years to when bigs were a big, huge part of the game, he doesn't score 100 points because multiple people are his size.
Yeah.
In his era, there was nobody close to his size.
No. He was playing against white dudes that dribble like this.
and well, that's the thing. So I saw, I think it was a TikTok or something. It was like, how does Wilt score 100 when they dribble like that and shoot like that? And they're like, because
he didn't.
They're like, because everybody else did that, and he just stayed by the basket. They're like, you realize also in that game he had 52 rebounds, supposedly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just wild.
And so That's my thing with the whole 200 and something pitches with Nolan Ryan. Is it factual or is it like the lore? Like Nolan Ryan can't fucking be hurt.
Yeah.
Because he wrestled cattle when he was a teenager, type of. Because that's what he swears that's why he's longevity is because he was always out rough, tough cowboy in it.
Yeah.
And I mean,
might be.
Again, it goes back to like Nolan Ryan is the exception, not the rule.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Kobe being at the gym 4 hours before Phil Jackson even decided to wake up in the morning, type of thing. Kobe's the exception. Like you can't expect every NBA player to do that.
Yeah.
And that's why Kobe said he can never coach, is because his expectations are here, and he knows that there's.
He can only coach his daughter's basketball.
Well, yeah, but I'm like he's when he was asked about NBA, he said, "My expectation for
he'd be a piss off coach all the time."
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, he like just the way he acted towards some of his own teammates because they weren't putting in the effort he would put in.
God damn, dude. R.I.P. to the Bean, to Kobe. God damn, that shit still hurts today.
Hey,
almost as bad as it hurt
the Lakers. The Lakers show.
Yeah. Baby Kobe in the stands?
Yeah.
The winning time?
Yeah.
I love that.
It
showed Bean Bright and it said in parentheses Baby Kobe.
Yeah.
That's dope.
I was like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, that.
Yeah, that was a salute.
Yeah.
That's dope. But that Kobe, like, just thinking about Kobe and Gigi and everybody else involved in that tragic day, a horrific day, it bringing up, it hurts almost like, it did the day of. And it's crazy because we didn't know Kobe.
That's one thing I said is when it happened, I was like, celebrities have died.
First celebrity you almost cried about.
Yeah, celebrities have died, and like, I've read about it, and I'm like, man, that sucks. But it was one of those things like.
It stopped everything.
Like when I heard it, it was you know how like when you hear something and you're just like, definitely not. This is like you're just in such denial.
Yeah.
And then like you start looking shit up and it's all true and you're just like
everything. I always go to TMZ. Always.
Man, I'm like.
And that's my thing too. Like
it was one of those things that it hit you and you're just like.
It was like a punch to the fucking gut. That's like Robin Williams, dude. Fucking that's my childhood. I seen that he had passed, and I had to call my mom. My mom is a huge Robin Williams fan, and that shit fucking hurt me. Well, before that, Michael Jackson is my favorite musical artist of any genre, of any time period, of anything. And his passing, like, I mean, it hurt, but it was like he was older. You kind of his lifestyle. You kind of like, damn, Robin Williams, that nobody saw that coming, but he was older, and you're like, fuck. Nipsey fucked me up too. Nipsey Hussle, like R.I.P. The marathon continues, but Kobe was like, he was like bulletproof.
Yeah, it was just one of those guys like Nipsey. You could see because he ran in like.
But no, you couldn't. I mean, if you really follow his lifestyle, you couldn't because he was helping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'm just saying like
and the way he passed like that. That's what I'm saying. Kobe and Nipsey were the two that fucked me up the most because they weren't older. Like I didn't expect in a million years either of them.
You saw both of them continuing to do great things
But Kobe was more of a spotlight on Kobe. Nipsey, if you're not huge into rap, you don't think about Nipsey. You didn't know Nipsey.
He wasn't a world icon.
Yeah, no, but Kobe, like that shit, like, I've always like had banter with you, you're a Lakers fan. I've always been like, but he doesn't pass. Kobe was never, I can't say never. For a while, I wasn't a huge fan. But I grew into one. And I think a lot of that was me and you being friends, brothers, whatever, and me seeing all the shit that you had said, and we talked about it, and it gave me a new respect for him, and I saw him in a different light. And I just started being like a real fan of his for like the year and a half, 2 years before he passed. That's when I was like, oh yeah, Kobe's a shit. It was like it took him retiring for me to see his greatness, I guess, more than anything. And I was like, yo, Kobe. I was always, me, MJ. But I was like, Kobe's the shit. But before that, I was like, oh, Kobe's a ball hog. Oh, he's selfish. You know that. We debated about that drunk nights many of years. But the last year and a half, 2 years leading up to his passing, like, I really became a fan of his. And then when he passed, it didn't matter if you're a fan of his or not. Like, I think about it, like, if we get news that LeBron passed in the same fashion, that'd be devastating. Even for me, I'd be like, damn, because I've watched his whole career.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have affected me like Kobe. Kobe was just, I don't know why. Kobe was bulletproof. And,
well,
and I think the family, the girl dad thing and all that fucked me up. And his daughter passing too, you know? But.
Yeah, and it's tough to see it, like, and like we talk, MJ's the GOAT on the court.
If he passed away tomorrow, you're like, he's like 60. Like, we knew it was coming sooner than later.
Well, my thing is, like, MJ's the GOAT on the court.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to off the court stuff, like, Kobe and, like you say, Nipsey, they both were
activists.
They had activists. They had things like Kobe was trying to make the WNBA better for his daughter.
And just seeing him with his kids kills me more, bro. Because I'm a father, and you're a father, you know. And LeBron, when he passes, I mean, like, yeah, he was one of the greatest, you know. He was top. I think LeBron's 3 out of. You know, I think obviously it's MJ, Kobe, LeBron. I'm not going to say he's 2 or 1. He's 3, but still, that's a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
But when he passes, what's going to hurt me is all the good he's done off the court. Because we've sat here on this podcast for 33 episodes and talked about here and there about how he's an actor and flop and, you know. But his Truth School or Promise School in Cleveland he built and everything he does, like, you've never heard smut on this man's name outside of basketball. You've never heard infidelity with his wife. You've never heard anything bad. You've always heard he's a great dad. He gives back. He's the hardest fucking worker. He's invested in this. He does everything the right way.
Yeah.
Never had no smudge on his name. But on the court, that's what kills me. And we've always said, that's what's going to taint his legacy. That. Off the court, he's like a fucking, I can't say priest because I don't,
he's like a saint.
A lot of priests are fun, you know? But yeah. And that's what's going to kill me when LeBron passes. It's going to be like, damn, dude, all the good he did off the court. Kobe was both on and off, you know? But yeah, anyways. Speaking of basketball, though, KD, Kevin Durant, this is a little bit old news, but I don't think it's been reported. Kevin Durant is, OKC is talking about retiring his jersey, right? They talked about it. And he's saying that he believes that OKC and Golden State should.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if OKC was talking about it, but
it came up somehow.
It came up somehow, and he did. He stated that he believes OKC and Golden State should retire his jersey, and I'm going to assume that he wants the Nets to retire his jersey too. Eventually, because, and like I said, I honestly think that he should have his jersey retired in OKC, just based on he played 1 year as a Sonic, and then came over and helped build that fan base. He put in a lot of work. They got into the playoffs, like those kind of things. He does deserve, I believe, to have his stuff
in Oklahoma City.
OKC.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think he put in enough time or didn't change Golden State enough.
Yeah, the trajectory.
It wasn't like they weren't a bad team when he came on. Like, they had won a championship, just come off of a loss. Well, and that's what we talked about
in pre-recording.
Yeah.
They had won in 2015, then 2016. The Warriors had set the record, like broke the Bulls, the 95, I believe, 96 MJ Bulls record, because the Bulls won 72, because, you know, people that don't know, it was 82 games in a season. They won 72 and lost 10, which is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
So the Warriors came out, won their first 24 games a season. That was a record, 24-0. And then went on to win 73 and only lose 9 games. So beat arguably the best team of all time, the 95 or 96 Bulls, their record for a season, got up 3-1 in the finals against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and that was when LeBron James baited Draymond Green in like Game 4 into a foul, like where Draymond was on the ground, LeBron stepped over him and kind of like almost teabagged him in a sense, and Draymond reached up to try to like push him off of him, because any man, if you're on the ground, some dude fucking puts his nuts over your face, you're gonna reach up and try to punch him off or push him off. Yeah. Draymond reached up to try to push him off, didn't make any contact, got called for a technical, and then after that game, from what I understand, LeBron like flew out to the NBA head office and like protested them in a sense to suspend Draymond. Draymond got a 2-game suspension where he couldn't even be in the arena. He had to sit at the Coliseum in like the VIP box, like the owner's box, which a tunnel, if you guys don't know, in Oakland, Oracle, where the Golden State Warriors played, is literally, 10 yards away from the Coliseum where the Oakland Raiders used to play. But there's a tunnel that connects them under. So he's not allowed in the stadium during those 2 final games. So he was in the VIP box at the football stadium waiting to get word they won so he could go celebrate this team. But that's the only reason the Cavaliers were able to come back and win, is because of Draymond not being there. Because we all know that the Warriors would have won the next game and closed it out, so it's just crazy with that whole situation. And what did we even bring up? What brought that up?
Well, that's why they brought on Kevin Durant. So they had won 2016, won 73-9, went 73-9 the next season, and lost because of LeBron James crybaby bullshit. So Kevin Durant came in after the Warriors beat the OKC Thunder in the Western Conference Championship to go to the finals. Yeah.
And that's why people hated KD too, because you're joining the team that just beat you, but he came over and we ended up winning again and again, but he didn't make a big enough impact. We were already winners,
That's what I'm saying. The trajectory on the Warriors was already up.
Yeah.
And he kind of just rode that up.
He did a lot for us as a Warriors fan, but I think we could have.
That's why I don't think he made a big enough impact to warrant a retirement of his jersey.
100%. OKC, definitely.
100%.
Golden State, close, but no, but Brooklyn, as of now, definitely not, So, I guess we'll see.
They could win a championship still. They're still in it.
Yeah, but, either way, he wins one with them. They probably will.
They're playing Boston in the first round.
Ooh, that's a tough one, too. So, I don't know. That's what. Oh, speaking of basketball, though, the Hornets and their play-in game were playing against the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta, and for some reason, Miles Bridges, the Hornets player, he got a second technical. He got teed up, got thrown out. When he was walking to the tunnel to go to the locker room, there was a Hawks fan, some older, 40-year-old dude, talking shit and going off, and Miles Bridges took out his mouthpiece and yeeted it at dude, trying to hit him. Well, it went past dude, missed him. It hit some younger girl, whap, shoulder or face or something, but he plugged her with it. So he's fined $50K. Was that that was
$50,000.
$50,000 for that. But as soon as it happened, he felt bad. In the post-game presser, he was apologizing, explaining that he was trying to hit the dude that was doing all the banter. Shouldn't have done that. Missed. Hit the girl. Feels super bad. Wants to get in contact with her. Wants to make it right. And then even went as far to go on Twitter and post her picture. The screenshot with the mouthpiece hitting her, and saying that somebody please get me in contact with her. This was unexcusable or some shit like that, right?
Yeah.
So that's one fine for the NBA. What's the other one? This is all playing shit.
Patrick Beverley was fined.
This motherfucker, he gets under people's skin.
Mind you, he used to play for the Clippers.
4 years, and they decided not to re-sign him.
Well, actually, from what I heard, he was offered a certain contract and said, "Nah, fam, I'll go get more money elsewhere," but didn't get more money elsewhere.
Oh, because when I was watching the game, when they won, the analysts were saying that he's got a chip on his shoulder because he was with them for 4 years, wanted to stay with them, but they wouldn't offer him, or they didn't offer him the contract or offer him like a competitive value. That's what the announcers were saying. So they might have had it fucked up a little bit too. Are you looking it up?
I was trying to see because I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure because there was a couple guys like this last year where I swear we talked about somebody who did it where like they were offered money by one team and they turned it down.
That was a Lakers player. I can't remember who it was.
And they turned it down and ended up making less money elsewhere.
They were offered 50. I can't remember who the player was. We talked about it on the podcast. They were offered like $50 million and said, "Nah, fam, I'm gonna get it somewhere else," and only ended up signing for like $7 million.
And I think Patrick
was
Beverly
it Harrell Market? Was it Harrell?
Might have been Harrell.
Anyways, sorry. Go on.
I would swear Patrick Beverly because there was a couple guys that happened to. I thought Patrick Beverly was one of them. But so he got 2 fines this week. One was a $30,000 fine for some. What did the word they use? Erroneous use of profanity.
Oh yeah.
He said.
Was it Oladipo?
Oh, it might have been Victor Oladipo.
Yeah, it was Oladipo playing for the Pacers.
Yeah. So he told the LA teammates that they need to take their asses home. It's a long flight back to LA. Take the ass home.
Hold on, Dennis Schroeder. That's who the one that was for. He was for the Lakers, but
he said, "I gave my blood, sweat, and tears to that organizations. You guys already know the story."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Blood, sweat, and tears to be written off like he's injury prone. He's getting too old. This, that, and the other." And so I feel some type of way. And he posted on Instagram saying, "Weak ass Clippers telling them to get the fuck out of here."
And then when he got teed up for a second time in the other game, he got thrown out. He walked by the ref.
It was when they played the Bulls.
He walked by the ref and slapped him on his ass, stupid hard.
Got $25,000 for improper conduct toward a game official.
That's funny. Listen to this though. So I looked up player who lost money on contract, right? Because we were trying to figure out the Dennis Schroeder thing we had discussed. Listen to all these, bro. Some of them are older. Players who lost on a big contract that were offered big contracts and lost by trying to find a better one. The Magic, John Amaechi, Amaechi, deal he rejected, $17 million for 6 years, 2.83 per season. Deal he signed, $600K for 1 year. Joe Smith of the Warriors, rejected, $80 million, signed, $1.75 million for 1 year. Latrell Sprewell. Remember Sprewell? Or you're a little bit younger.
Yeah, I know the name.
The rims, the spinners.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the Sprewells? He had his own line of rims, the spinners. Anyways, deal he rejected, $21 million for 3 years, $7 million per year. Deal he signed, NA, didn't get one. Vladimir
Radmanovic?
Yes.
Yeah, he played for the Kings.
Look at this guy. The fuck?
I think he played for the Kings at one point.
He rejected $42 million over 6 years, $7 million a season.
I also think he played for the Lakers at one point too.
Probably, but he rejected a $42 million over 6 years, which is $7 million a season. Not as bad. Signed a 31 over 5.2 million. I mean, that's a lot of money for us. That's fucking huge.
Yeah, I mean it's $2 million a year.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Shabazz Muhammad, getting more relevant. Rejected 40 over 4, 10 years per. Signed 1.5 over 1. Nerlens Noel rejected $70 million over 4 years, $17.5 million per season. Signed a $4.1 million deal for 1 year. DeMarcus Cousins rejected $40 million over 2 years, $20 million a year. Signed 5.3 for 1 year. Victor Oladipo rejected $112 million over 4 years. That's $28 million per season. signed $2.3 million for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Holy fuck, dude. Dennis Schroeder projected $84 million over 4 years, $21 million per season. Deal he signed, NA. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's fucking wild.
And I understand sometimes.
But a lot of these motherfuckers are money hungry. If the Lakers offer you Dennis Schroeder and you had a good, quote unquote, good season, this is when LeBron, everybody was injury prone, and so you were kind of the best. They offered you $84 million over 4 or whatever, and you say, "Nah, fam, I'm gonna catch a wave somewhere else."
How do you do that? Like, your job calls you up, hey, we're gonna offer you whoop-de-wop, all this, you know what I mean? And you're like, nah, fam, I'm gonna go try it elsewhere.
Right.
And then, like, you go out there and you're just like, there ain't nothing out here.
Yeah.
And you come back like,
you got any more of the millions left?
hey, how does that go? You know what I mean? Like, Schroeder goes out there like, I'm gonna get my money. And then everybody's like, nah, fam, we ain't paying you that.
Well, you were garbage. You only put those numbers because the stars were hurt.
And
there's got to be something on his agent too. Though,
does he roll back like, hey, I'll take 70?
Yeah, right. They're like, nah, we replaced you with fucking Westbrook or whoever.
Yeah.
You know.
That's like, how do you pull it off?
That's crazy.
And on that list there was that one guy who only took a $2 million pay cut,
which is for us is huge.
And honestly, that's really the only one where I can be like, maybe he made that decision for himself, like mentally, or
being somewhere where he wanted to be, or going somewhere he wanted to be.
But like when you go from
84 to
or what's this Victor Oladipo
was like 74 to 1.75.
Victor Oladipo, he had like a $100 and something million contract.
It's crazy.
Offered to him, and he went and made 1 point something. And I mean, if you feel that strongly about
that's not what it was though. That's why they clowned him, because they're like, he thought he'd go out getting more.
Oh no, yeah, that was his. But I'm saying, like, if you really like feel super jaded, like you don't want to be part of, like, an Aaron Rodgers situation where like his contract came up and he's like, I don't give a fuck how much money you're giving me.
No, that was Devonta Adams, because Aaron Rodgers is
still. No, I know, but but I'm saying, like, in that situation, if he really stuck to his guns and was like, I don't give a fuck, I'll go wherever and play for less money,
league minimum, and not veteran minimum. Yeah,
like, then I'm like, more power to you. Like,
yeah,
if that's how
like
you feel,
LeBron will probably do when Bronny gets into it.
Yeah, like, to me, it's like more power to you. But like, if you're just out here thinking that your fucking shit don't stink, and you're chasing money, and then you just get fucking slapped in the mouth,
right? If you're Dennis Scrotum or Victor from Home Depot,
then you deserve it. Like, at that point.
What's the time on this?
We're at an hour and a half right now.
Nice.
I wanted to touch on this. So, obviously the Seahawks traded away Russell Wilson, and everybody's been thinking they have Drew Lock. That's their projected starter right now. They're gonna trade for Baker. Blah 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 blah. Whatever.
Are they?
That's
like
they've been
thinking,
in the talks.
Okay. I was
yes.
like, I haven't heard anything.
They've been in talks trying to get a hold of Baker.
Damn.
They just signed Geno Smith, Mr. Broken Jaw, after talking some shit in the locker room.
The Jets.
To a 1-year extension, because he was already there. He was Russell Wilson's backup.
Yeah.
$7 million.
Damn. Means they see something in him, in my opinion.
If Smith throws for over 701 yards
in one game, right? I'm kidding.
He gets that his pay will go up. So
do you think they're going to try to get Baker?
Well, I don't.
I think the Browns are going to sit on Baker and try to use him as a backup. Well, I've read reports today that said they kept him there. They're not releasing him because they're not sure what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson. Because he's cleared as of now, or so far, of criminal charges, but the civil charges are still pending, and the NFL could look at those civil charges as a guilty and still suspend him, which, Goodell's good at that.
The thing is, if you're Baker, do you play?
Fuck no. You sabotage that organization. Because he feels jaded already. So they say, you play it cool if you're not getting traded and they're not doing shit for you. And then when they're like, Deshaun's suspended, you're up, Nah, fam, I'm gonna ride the pine. I'm surfing on this wood over here on the bench.
They'll be like, well, you didn't get paid this year. I don't give a fuck.
He's made enough.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't sit out a year and not give a fuck.
I mean, he's got enough State Farm fucking commercials or whatever he did, to where it's probably as much as his fucking contract was, you know?
Yeah, and then
mind you though, let's not forget though that the Browns went 0-16, 0-16, 0-15. Baker Mayfield came in, and Bud Light had to deal with the city that if they won a couple games, that they would unlock these Bud Light coolers all throughout the city of Cleveland, and it would be free Bud Light. And Baker Mayfield brought them into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, he might not be that guy, but he was that guy for that fucking city.
Oh, yeah.
So let's not get it fucked up. Baker Mayfield may not be creme de la creme or filet mignon, but he's at least fucking ribeye or New York steak. You feel me?
Oh yeah.
Like
exactly.
he brought the city back
to relevance.
Yes, I mean all the Browns wanted to win. It was like 2 games. They when they won like their first game, it was like you couldn't have told them they didn't win the Super Bowl. They had thousands of fans outside the stadium that weren't even in the game. That fucking lost their shit, you know, like it was like a championship fucking run.
Yeah.
So Baker Mayfield is not a fucking bitch. You feel me? Like he did big things for the city, like, and for them to the team to just slap him in the face. The fans have got to be mad about that, you know?
Yeah. Last thing I wanted to bring up was the Padres being mad that the Giants broke some unwritten rules.
The old white rules.
And it's like, and so some of those things are you don't swing at a 3-0 pitch if your team's got a big lead.
It's always the team that's losing bad that gets mad about something. It's like,
100%.
It's always this like, oh, you guys were winning by 10 or more. Well, you shouldn't have done that. That's just bad. That's just bad sportsmanship.
Oh yeah,
the unwritten rules are always written by the team that are getting their asses whipped. Like fucking grow up.
The only one that I know that goes both ways is you're not supposed to steal when you're up big or down big.
Oh, the Giants didn't get that message.
Yeah, and so Mauricio Dubon bunted when they were already had a 9-run lead to get a base hit, and who was it? Someone stole a base.
I don't think it was Webb, was it?
No. Duggar. Yeah, so Kapler, the manager said, yeah, it was Duggar. Steven Duggar stole second base. He said, I fully support both of their decisions. I support the decision he made to steal second. I also support the decision to make a bunt. Our goal is not exclusively to win one game in a series.
Right.
It's to try and win the entire series. Sometimes that means trying to get deeper into the bullpen and understand that many teams don't love the strategy, and I get why. And he says it's something we talked about as a club this season, that we get comfortable with that strategy. It's not to be disrespectful. It's because we feel it's the best way to try and win a full series.
Absolutely. And getting in their heads, too. Absolutely. Look, we played football all our lives. I've never heard getting up by so much and then not fucking punting and not taking it easy. Like, if you've got a problem with what I'm doing, fucking score.
Especially, like, if you think about it, like, on a high school level, like, I could be like, okay, like, running up the score is kind of this, like, I don't feel that way, but if you look at it,
you can understand
where they're coming from. Like, their kids, like, let's not beat a team, like, in football, 100 and something to 0.
Buck them. Score.
Like,
Stop us.
In my opinion, yeah.
Stop us from scoring.
But, like, in high school, I can see how, like, you could argue, hey, that's not... But on a professional level...
if you're a 5A team versus a fucking 2A, then yes. Like, but play,
you know what I mean?
Play people accordingly to your... You know what I'm saying?
But to me, in a professional level, there should be no bitching.
No crying in
you're
baseball. You're
paid to do something. If you're
to stop runs or score them.
Yeah, exactly.
So do your fucking job.
And so this, the Giants ended up winning that game 13-2.
You're fucking right, we did.
And they made San Diego use 5 pitchers and an outfielder to pitch.
Yeah.
Will Myers came in and worked the 9th inning. So if their plan is to make the bullpen be tired,
they did a great fucking job.
They did a great job, and they ended up winning the next game 2-1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
they did their fucking job.
They did what they were supposed to do. And to me, it's one of those things like what. And the thing is, think about it. In football, if you're up 30 in the NFL and you start killing clock by running little plays and letting the time run down, it doesn't affect your stats.
No.
In baseball, if I go up to bat and my coach is like, "Hey, bro, just let him strike you out. We're just trying to get the game over with."
Yeah. I'm going
to look at him and be like, "What the fuck? Not only is my batting average going down, my strikeouts are going up. Like in baseball, there's no way to kill the clock."
And the next time you go up for a contract, your contract will be lower because of your stats.
And I think in baseball, there's like in basketball, you can kill the clock a little bit, not a ton because you have a play clock.
Yeah.
But you can still dribble out some time. Yeah. Football, you can kill a lot of time.
Yeah, by running it or taking knees. Yeah.
Like in one drive, if you say you run the ball and you get 4 yards each time, and that's it, just 4 yards, just enough to get a first down each time, you could kill 7-8 minutes off a clock.
Absolutely, really. Yeah.
Baseball, there's no time limit.
Nope. So I watched the Giants a handful of years ago, 16 fucking innings. 16 innings. It was like 7 hour game. We watched, me and the wife watched the whole game. Like literally watched it on the couch. Like didn't move, you know? I mean, got up, grabbed some food, whatever, but.
Yeah, so 1984 was the longest game, 25 innings.
That's fucking wild.
1945, 24 innings. 1906, 24 innings.
Dude, cricket, the game of cricket?
That's
can last weeks.
Yeah, like it's...
Yeah.
Dude, so...
I wonder if that Giants game was.
I'm trying to see where... So, I'm trying to see if there's any newer ones.
I think it was 16 innings.
So 1968 was 24. 1945, 24. 1906, 24. Longest 9-inning game. Yankees beat the Red Sox 14-11. In 06, it took 4 hours and 45 minutes.
The longest what game?
9-inning game.
Gotcha.
Like
damn.
Time-wise?
That's crazy. Oh, it was an 18... So, in 2019, April 3rd or 13th of 2019, I believe, we played 18 innings with a walk-off home run. And it was... excuse me. Let me see. April 13th.
Do you want to hear this from us?
Well, this was a 5 hour and like 40-something minute game. Sorry, go ahead.
So that 9-inning game almost was as long as that 18-inning game.
Just fuck.
So this is the longest game ever played. 26 innings. Brooklyn Robin, mind you, it's 1920.
Yeah.
Boston Braves. 1-1 was the score.
Holy shit. They ended a tie? After 25, they said, fuck it. Like, what the fuck? That makes no sense. So, yes, this one, the Giants won, walk-off.
Yeah,
3-2, 5 hours, 35 minutes, 18 innings.
So what it says is both pitchers pitched the entire 26-inning game.
Holy shit. And 80 is too much for Kershaw, right?
And likely could have gone back out for a 27th inning. But it had gotten too dark at Braves Field, and they decided
no lights.
And they decided to call it a tie.
They had no lights. They should have picked up the next day. Fuck them, pussies. Just kidding.
Oh, no. That is why it's just.
That's crazy. It's like playing
two guys
street ball with
pitched
your
26.
friends.
Two pitchers.
But at that time, their pitches weren't what they are today.
Oh no! Like
they
their
just had
fastball was like
70.
Yeah.
They just overhand threw it.
It probably looked like the Have you seen? It's kind of like a meme going around. An outfielder had to come into pitch, not the game that you guys.
I haven't seen it.
So he threw this pitch, and it's literally like almost just like a lob to home plate, and it goes in and hits the batter.
Oh God!
And it's like, it's so slow. It's like, and the batter like, ooh, and it's,
he flopped.
He flopped so hard. Everybody's laughing. The pitcher's laughing.
So the batter's laughing on purpose.
Yeah, 100%.
Gotcha.
Like. Everybody's laughing. He takes his base, and it's like a whole. Like,
should have been our first going. Oh.
And I just thought it was funny because like the way it literally like throws it like lobs.
Like McDonald's arch.
Yeah, I'm like bro, like at that point, you're just jacking home runs off of people.
That's funny. Yeah, right. Some pickleball.
Yeah, but see, I mean, the problem is, a lot of people think, oh, if this outfielder's just lobbing stuff slowly in,
that's harder.
Yeah, because
for a lot of them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
their brain's tricked to,
one, the speed throws them off.
Yeah.
2, the weird trajectory throws them off. And 3, honestly, a lot of these big ass home runs only happen because people can throw hella hard.
Yeah.
Because the way the baseball works is, when it hits that bat, if it's doing 80, it's coming out slower than if it's throwing 100 off the bat.
Which is weird. Physics is just weird.
Like watching a slow-mo of a baseball hitting a bat is the craziest thing. Because the baseball literally wraps the bat a little bit.
And the bat
and then
flexes.
Flings out.
And the bat flexes a little bit.
And so, like, obviously it's been done. But it takes more power to hit a slow ball out of the stadium than it does a fastball.
Makes sense.
But that's it for me. That's all I got.
Oh, one more thing though. So Juju, we talked about.
Oh yeah.
Patrick Mahomes' younger brother, Jackson Mahomes, and his TikToks and all the controversy and the problems it causes Pat and Pat's wife too. All their bullshit antics. Patrick really just shut that shit down. Like, that's my thing is the Chiefs.
People say he did. He says he didn't. I don't know.
Well, I mean, he should have shut. Well, it's happened so long that he didn't shut her down because he.
Well, supposedly there was a meeting
after the season.
After the season, supposedly he met with
So
them.
we'll see. We'll see this next.
He
season.
came out and said that that's not true though.
But. Well, either way, we'll see this coming up season.
I think the team needs to meet with him and be like, look, get them in check or they're not allowed at the fucking stadium.
Yeah, like, this is, like, you're not answering questions about win or loss. You're answering questions about wife and brother.
Why Jackson Mahomes threw a cup of water at someone.
Why your wife's spraying fans with champagne, kids involved. Anyways, so anybody that knows the Steelers and Juju Smith-Schuster... And he's huge on social media, and he wants to dance on everybody's logos and TikTok, and we talked about this already. We've already covered this.
Yeah.
Well, he, obviously, this old news we talked about, it got signed to the Steelers on a 1-year deal. We were talking about, Chiefs. Is he going to start doing TikToks with Jackson Mahomes because they're both social media big, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So Juju, it's old news, came out and said that he will absolutely be doing no TikToks, no social media with Jackson Mahomes. So it's yet to be seen. But Juju, for your career and your image, I really hope you don't. Anyways, I think that's everything. I just wanted to throw
would really
tidbit.
hope he doesn't, because honestly, it would just add to another person that Jackson could coattail off of.
And well, not only that, but Juju's been criticized by people because him dancing on the logos of other teams and being disrespectful too. So if they team up, there's going to be a lot of fire in both of them. I like Juju, but I don't like his antics. So, you know
honestly, I feel like he's like a new age Chad Johnson.
Yeah, but
less good.
Yeah, at least Chad Johnson did shit, but he made the game entertaining and fun. Juju just makes it ignorant and immature.
Oh, that's what I'm just saying. It's like I feel like that, like because
he's trying to be like a new Chad Johnson.
That's what I'm saying. It's like he's trying to be that antics, like pulling a Sharpie out from underneath the fucking
the cell phone under the goalpost.
Yeah, cell phone. And then he had a Sharpie in his pants.
In his sock.
Sock, that's what it was.
Signed it. Or grabbed the popcorn.
Yeah, like he's trying to do those things. But
yeah.
Like
he's just coming off as really brash, you know?
And I think
especially the NFL fans, I don't know what the ratio is, but a lot of them are older and not not like how the newer Generation Z is all social media. The majority, if I'm not mistaken, of NFL fans are not that. So seeing this, and it's just becoming disrespectful.
Oh, 100%.
So maybe in 10 years, it'll be a TikTok-driven league or a new social media-driven league, and maybe they'll implement that into the game. Who knows? Maybe the ref will pull out a phone or a tablet and take a picture of you after you get a touchdown. Like, hey, I won't be. But that's our generation.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
We're the younger part of the generation doesn't want to see that. The newer generation would love to. And then so we're going to be the old whites or old whatever and be like, back in my day, you know.
Back in my day, Steve Smith could crack back on somebody.
Ray Lewis could, yeah, no, I
murder
agree.
Someone and still play.
Yeah, allegedly. Come on. Anyways, O.J. Simpson sells a voice on Twitter, even though he allegedly murdered 2 people, but for sure kidnapped at gunpoint people.
Yeah. Spent 9 years in prison for it.
Yeah, it didn't spend a year in prison for murdering 2. Anyways, episode 33 wrapped up.
Yeah, that's all right. That's a hot take on the end there, baby.
Hey, Big and Bliss podcast. Till next episode. Can't say next week. Next time. Next episode.
Peace.